The end of the war finally seems in sight. I know I've said that before, but now things are getting heated. Under a treaty that was secretly signed between the monarchists and the Polish nationalist movement, they staged an uprising in Prussia, to help give the monarchists a foothold. And as a deal, Poland would get its independence. But that's down the line. Right now, they're busy holding on for dear life to every grain of sand and every inch of ground they have. Right now, Japan is trying to deal the final blow. I don't know when that blow will come, but it is coming. I hope and pray to heaven that it will be swift and that it will be decisive. That there will be no room for the enemy to have a chance to reconstitute, to regain the ground they once had. This needs to be an absolute victory. For better or for worse, Japan has to keep going. Fleets are already being sent home to give the crews time to rest, as I fear that there might be a possibility that we have to invade Germany. And if we have to, the Navy will need to be ready. So far, that terrible idea has not come to pass, and I hope it never has to. The monarchists have informed me that their agents are ready. As soon as the final blow comes, they'll stage the uprising. The people are on their side, even if the junta tries to deny it. And hopefully, that'll bring the end of the war, and consequently, hopefully, my retirement. Though I hear whispers around the palace that the emperor is going to beg, effectively, speaking as the emperor never begs, for me to stay. And I will stay on as advisor as long as he'll keep me, but frankly, I'm tired. I've been fighting for a long time, and I think I'm due some rest. But rest doesn't come while war is still raging. Our troops have been able to do practically nothing against the junta-allied Russia and parts of junta-occupied Poland. Even Polish Belarusia has turned into a quagmire as neither side is able to gain much ground. Even our legendary allies in Romania, who bravely held the line against the German army on their home front, have been unable to do anything. The 15th Carpathian, which is the same unit that helped the Japanese Marines take Kiev, has been relatively stuck in position, and many of the soldiers, who have had the opportunity to meet, are quite furious that they're unable to make any progress. I get letters almost every week of them complaining that they've got nothing to do, just sit around and watch the frontier. Limited German offensives have only done so much damage, and frankly, everyone seems to have the same foregone conclusion. Germany needs to either throw everything it has in one last desperate gamble to sink Yamato and Musashi in the North Sea, or cave. The junta seems unwilling to cave, and quite frankly, I don't want them to cave. They'll come around. Multiple German battleships, last-ditch efforts with varying degrees of armor strapped to them and questionable design processes, have brought us many victories, as, frankly, a battleship without an escort is nothing more than a sitting duck. No matter how powerful your ship is, no matter how much armor it has, it can't do anything under sustained and brutal combat, with rookie crews and limited ammunition. The German colonial regions are now all under the monarchists, and a few of them were granted to Japan's Commonwealth system as tokens of appreciation, though we politely refuse them. We have already enough of our Commonwealths to deal with. We don't need more. And now comes the final point of this entry. how do we deal the final blow? Frankly, I thought the final blow was at a few years ago, when the last large German fleet was crushed under Japanese fire. I thought that would be it. But no. The naval war is already won, for all intents and purposes. It seems almost futile to keep ships in that area, but then there's the other option. See, the Dutch, heaven bless them, are quite eager to, shall we say, have their vengeance on the junta for occupying their land, as they can't quite occupy the Soviets. And it has taken quite a lot of talking and near threatening to get the Dutch to back down. There was one point where the Dutch foreign minister told me that the Royal Army of the Dutch was going to simply march into German territory and sack it, effectively. I then simply nodded and told the foreign minister that if he would like to do that, Musashi and Yamato would simply train their guns on his house and keep them there until he decided to back down. When he complained that he lived in an entire apartment block, I said, "Good. I will buy the entire apartment block, and that will be your home. And then that apartment block will have guns trained on it from the two most powerful battleships afloat. Do not go sacking things. The monarchists are on your side. The last thing you need to do is piss them off." It seemed to finally get to him that I was not kidding when he told me that I was nothing but, I don't quite know how to translate the word. I believe he called me a coward, to which I then responded by having Yamato show up off the Dutch coast and simply ask which direction from the forward gun battery is the foreign minister's house, and how far inland is it. Oh, it's too far inland? Nonsense. We'll just sail into Amsterdam. And we did. The foreign minister seemed to get the message after that, and frankly has been quite quiet since his humiliation. So, the final option, I suppose, is not pretty. Operation Split Atom, our joint project with the Brits and the Americans, is done, and none of us are willing to use it. And the monarchists have already told us that if we decide to use that weapon, we're going to have an issue. As, frankly, the last thing we need is that thing released on European soil. God help us if the Soviets get one. So, land invasion seems the most probable, although naval leadership seems to tell me that if we push every battleship, every cruiser, every destroyer, and even the last torpedo boats that are being used by the Home Guard and the Coast Guard, and had the entire Marine Corps and 3 Army divisions land, we could probably take a Kiel. With Kiel, the city, is the entrance to the Baltic. We would increase German travel time, as they'd have to travel around Jutland, which is plausible, although some of my other advisors are saying that we should just take Jutland directly, threaten it by land. I haven't made a decision yet. Hopefully, the Germans will decide what course of action I'll take. They'll probably make a move, and when they do, I'll match it, counter it, and before they realize what's going on, I'll have checkmate, and there'll be nothing but the sad soul on the other side of the chessboard.